Yeah, this was a CEU event I was at, and oh, that was you. Okay.
No, okay, sorry, I was gonna tell you, I just started the
That's
recording for us to look back at later, so it's here.
oh,
I was like, oh, you started
God.
eating some good stuff. Let me hit record real quick.
Yeah.
You know, it for me was really hard studying because it'd been so long since I'd taken the exam.
Yeah.
I feel like with how, this is your third or fourth group you've come to here. So like that's at least 4 hours studying plus everything else. I think you just need to schedule your exam.
Okay, so like that's what we learned when we had the RD exam. You just schedule it. Ideally, I would like to schedule it for the fall if I did it all. I don't know, Claire, do you have yours scheduled or?
What else do you have left in your process, Sarah? Is it just the exam?
No, so I've watched the module 1. I've done some exercises around that. I keep listening to, like, I made a podcast out of it. I had, Google AI make a podcast out of it, and I've been listening to that. I've watched the module 2. I may not be saying the terms correctly. Like course 1, I've watched the course 2 videos. I've yet to translate the slides into a podcast. Really, that's about it. So I will say these sessions keep me accountable though, because I'm like, okay, I know I have to do something this week because I have study group this week. So this is keeping me accountable. So what I did this week was I just re-listened to the podcast on the module 1 with all the percentages. So I'm able to do something. It usually has to be like a secondary thing. So I'm listening to the podcast in the background or the webinars in the background, but I haven't gone through any exercises, any tests. I'm still just making my way through those modules. So
yeah.
How many is there? 3, 5?
4.
3.
And you've taken
Okay.
them all though, right? Or are you still in the process of going through them?
I'm still in the process of going through them. I'm only in the second one right now.
Okay. I would say with everything you have going on with your business, I would just say every month your goal should be to get one done. So get the second one done by this. So then by the time the group hits next month, have the third one, the next month, the fourth one, the next one, take the exam. You could
I think that feels very doable.
Yeah.
I would say the 4th module is going to be the hardest.
Okay, I appreciate the heads up too. So you're ready to take the exam? So you're all through your modules or? Okay.
Yeah, Claire, give us your background story. What's your story? I haven't met you face to face yet. Where are you at with your exam? Are you getting a certification? Tell us all.
Sure thing. So I'm Claire. I use she, her pronouns. I live in Fort Collins, Colorado. And I work at an outpatient group practice that specializes in eating disorders. I've been in the field for about 6 years, and my boss and like mentor here is CEDS certified and CEDS a CEDS supervisor. So I got my hours under her, and then want to kind of pursue CEDS supervision so I can provide some supervision because I provide supervision here. I took all the 4 courses and took notes and all of those things a bit ago, like probably like within the last 2 years. So I don't have access to the videos anymore, or not all of them, I guess. And I have purchased the exam. I had questions about the scheduling because it seems like I don't have to schedule it out. I just kind of take it, and there's not like a live person there watching the proctor. They just kind of watch my screen. Am I getting that right?
Correct. So I haven't had a supervisee recently take actually, no, I have. Anyways, how it was when I took it 2 years ago, which I believe it's still the same format, is you purchase the exam and you download the proctor
app. Yeah.
And then once you hit start, it starts.
Okay. That's what I figured. And I appreciate that they have like a little practice proctor session where it's like you practice setting it up and stuff. Okay, that was my understanding. And yeah, I forgot a piece that I wanted to share, which is I've been sitting on it for a little bit until these new regulations came out that like dropped a lot of the like applying for this is so tedious. I feel like I'm applying for college again.
Yeah.
And they dropped some of the extra things that you needed, which kind of reignited my spark to like, my last couple of things are just the letters of rec, which I already know who will write them and easy, and the exam.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably take it within the next month.
Yeah, and I would get started on those letters of rec because it can take people a very, very long time. And in my experience, some people want you to write it for them.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Want you to give you a template. But a lot of time, you know, I think I used AI for mine and like gave it here's a template, here's what to include, make the voice sound like this. And then I would teach the people that I gave it to how to use AI as well, just to kind of make it streamlined. But that's the one thing was like, you can take the exam and get it done tomorrow. If you need your letter of rec done tomorrow, like there's no guarantee because that's in the hands of someone else. So my supervisor pushed into me like, start with the letter of rec and get those done.
That's probably something I can start even while I'm studying.
Yep.
That's probably something I can start while I'm studying.
Idea,
just
Sarah.
like reach. How many? It's one letter of rec or yeah, because I was gonna say I had 3 supervisors, so I can easily get the 3.
Nope.
I'm gonna come
Sarah.
offline now. I'm gonna put my microphone off and I'm gonna put my camera off because I'm driving to my office. It's literally next door.
Yeah.
So give me 10 minutes or so and I'll be back online, but I'm listening.
Okay. While you're listening, Sarah, you can't have your supervisors write you a letter of recommendation.
Not your CEDS supervisor.
Yeah, they are disqualified. If
my CEDS supervisors?
Isn't that weird? I know.
Who writes it for me? They've literally, wow.
I know. It's the weirdest thing.
Like a general supervisor and not a CEDS, if it's someone who had nothing to do with your hours, for example, me, kind of like I could write you one. You and I haven't really done like eating disorder supervision, but if it was someone like me that was providing eating disorder supervision, but you're not signing off on your hours, they can write you a letter of recommendation. Typically what I recommend for people, so you have to have one within your discipline, one outside of your discipline, and then whatever is easiest. Coworkers are great people to get it from. So anyone that the therapists or dietitians that are at your office right now, people at your past group practice that you've worked at, and then people you've done care coordination with.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's good to know because I am in an office now with therapists who I've done care coordination with. And dietitians. Now, some of them are CEDS supervisors, some are not, but I haven't received supervision from them. So, okay, great. Thank you. That's good to know. I didn't know that. Right. I'm going to put myself on mute now.
Like, wait, hold on.
Thank you. No, I'm still listening. Thank you. I appreciate the insight.
Yeah, absolutely. Claire, did you have any, so typically with these, like if anyone has like specific questions, we'll kind of tackle those. Otherwise, we'll start going through some like practice questions and things like that. Was there specific questions that you had or things you wanted to chat about or ask about?
Yeah, I took screenshots of the ones I got wrong on the exam.
Okay.
Because some I'm still having trouble figuring out why it's one answer, not the other.
Okay.
My question is, where did you pull some of these questions from? Like, were they from like the IADEP practice exams? Or because I want to know, like, because I want to learn how to take the test if that's so, but I feel like some of them might not, like, I can think of one, for example, where I feel pretty confident that I got it right, but it was marked wrong, like things like that.
Okay, cool. If you can send me the screenshots, you can share your screen so I can see which ones it is. So and you're talking about my practice exam, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there's 2 practice exams. There's practice exam 1, practice exam 2. The number 1 is questions from the exam that I remember verbatim as closely as possible to the answer.
Okay.
So essentially, I knew I wanted to make a study exam while I was taking the exam.
Yeah,
Right.
brilliant.
Once I got down, I wrote every single question I could remember. And so the majority of those questions are reflections of questions from the exam and the answers that I knew were right or correct. There could be some wiggle room there because it's not 100% those are right or wrong. Practice exam 2 is copy paste questions and answers from the actual practice exams that were marked right or wrong by IADEP.
Okay.
So those are kind of the two. So I would say if it's practice exam 1, yeah. So if we look at those, there is a chance that they could be right or they could be wrong. But we can kind of tackle through those because either I got it wrong or IDEP got it wrong and said it was right.
Right. Right. Okay. I'm pulling up some of them. I know the main one that comes to mind. Let me share my screen so we can like see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that's okay. Give me 1 sec. I just have a couple more screenshots. That I want to look through.
Yeah. You are good.
I actually have a lot, so I might email you some of them.
No, this works perfectly. Just kind of go through them right now.
Okay. Some of them I know like why I got wrong, so I'm trying to find the ones that. Okay. A laxative abuse one, I feel like I keep hearing different things, but okay, let me share my screen with some of these.
Okay.
Okay, I think this is the first one that I feel like. Okay, can you see that?
Yes, the psychiatric and this is, let me just pull it up on my end too to see.
I think most of these were from the exam too.
Exam, well, it looks like exam 1. Okay.
Oh.
Psychiatric comorbidity of alcohol dependence is more common in BN than AN. More common AN. I also, my first thought is that it's BN, but then the answer key does say exactly that what that one is. So let me go back into the
Let me search my CEDS notes because I feel like I've learned this specifically in a lot of different trainings, which is like, that's what's hard if like we know it's right from other data, but the CEDS exam is saying we need to answer it this way. So that's where I'm kind of curious about like where each of these questions came from.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to flip screens.
Okay, you want me to stop sharing?
No, you don't have to stop sharing. I'm just going to take over.
Oh, great.
So we are in the, oops, was that any bigger? Alcohol dependent. So we're in the core course virtual reduced binder. This is from 2023, not the most updated one. We can see if it's different there. But so right here it directly says there's 17% alcohol dependence in AN, 3 to 4% in BN, unknown in bed.
That's so strange.
Yeah.
So that's what they're saying.
Yeah, and then what I've told a lot of people on these practice calls is I was flabbergasted at the specific numbers that were asked in the exam, where it's like, is it 48% of people with what have anxiety disorder? And it's, referring to this number right here. And it was very, very specific. So that's where it came from. It doesn't look
ridiculous.
like it's wrong based on kind of the other stats, but yeah, that's where the answer for that one came from.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
See, this does feel like college testing again of like, I know the answer is different. Like I said, I've like heard this very differently from other places, but if this is what they're going off of, you have to play to the exam. So,
Yeah.
okay. Interesting, but okay. Let's see which one I want to share it next. Okay, let me see if I can grab specific ones.
Mhm.
Let me just see if I can share my whole screen and then I can. Whoa. No, I'm gonna do it differently.
And then I'm gonna search this last virtual binder as well to see if there's been any other changes.
Okay, that would be helpful. Appreciate that. Okay, and then this is one that I feel like wasn't totally clear in the last like I remember getting questions on this in the practice exam for core course 4, and I feel like I was told different things between like kind of coming down to how laxative abuse should be treated, and the two ones that I'm hearing differences between is like a gradual tapering off while using Miralax versus immediate cessation of laxative use. And I think that probably has to do with like edema and pseudobarters
Right. Yep.
protection. Okay.
So I'm before we move on to this one.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna wrap up on the first one. And when they in the core course binder from 2023, you can do control find and find the exact word you're looking for.
Yeah.
In 2024 binder, they changed it to images, and so you can't search by. But
Yeah.
So we would need to go back through and find what section it was in, but I put it into ChatGPT and I said, what percentage of people with anorexia versus bulimia have alcohol dependence? And it said, according to the CEDS virtual binder, the rates of alcohol
No way.
12 to 18% among anorexia and 30 to 70% among bulimia, which means it's changed from 2023 to 2024. Then I asked it to tell me what page it was on, and it didn't. So I think I do want to see if we can find that, because it sounds like that information changed from year to year.
So confusing. I remember some of the content changing while I was touching
I found it.
Really?
Wait. Okay. No. All right. ChatGPT was wrong. It's the exact same. It's 70% AN, 3 to 4% BN.
Can you ask ChatGPT what year of the booklet?
Ask it what?
What year?
Well, I'm looking at 2024.
Yeah, I know. But I wonder where it's pulling that from.
I'm not sure, but I have that exact slide pulled up, and the slide didn't change at all.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I wish we could submit these things to CEDS and be like, please clarify. Like, because I feel like, yeah. Anyway, it's not worth my time to get frustrated at. I do enough of that.
Okay, so then the laxative one, laxative abuse should be treated by, okay, that's not the right laxative one.
I definitely remember it was in core course.
Okay, so that's a different one. Let me pull up this one. Gosh, good thing I have these two monitors. It's like going between so many things.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, laxative.
Okay, I mean, in my notes, I literally have a note saying no, there's no logic to gradually tapering off stimulant laxatives. Yeah, Miralax isn't a stimulant laxative, so
I don't have the any additional answer feedback on this one, which I believe I didn't have answer feedback because it was directly from the course.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
but so yeah, so I think that I don't know the total rationale of it anymore. I think back in
Okay,
the when a lot of these things, it's like so much of studying for the exam is like information you need at the time, but not anymore.
I
Um,
know.
Clinically, I do a laxative taper when I'm taking people off laxative, so we're
Right.
down. Um, so let's see if we can find the answer in here.
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes and it says, you know, yeah, I think it's probably the difference between stimulant laxatives and osmotic laxatives then, because in my notes I have still under this is core course 4. It was under a slide called constipation and stimulant laxative abuse treatment. And it says manage expectantly, offer osmotic laxatives like polyethylene glycol. I mean, the only laxative I endorse is Parallax. And then under that same point later, it says no logic to gradually tapering off stimulant. So manage expectantly with Miralax, but don't taper off stimulant. Like that's contradictory.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that and these are one of these just real. Not all of the exam questions are super tricky, but 1 out of 5 is like this, where it's like, oh, that is
Okay.
tough because it sounds like it could be multiple of these things. So, thing is, we look directly at the slide. It's it's the okay. It doesn't make sense to gradually take this. I mean, this question's not a good question. It's not written well. Like if it were to say
Yeah.
stimulant
Right.
or the type, but again, this is just kind of they're written by people and some of the questions suck. And what I found is you memorize these answers because that's what
Right.
is on there.
Okay. That's what I'm kind of gathering is like I need to detach from being right and instead play the game.
Yeah, there was a
It's just
couple.
like the RD exam. We had to do the same thing with the RD exam. Right?
Yeah,
It's
with
written
my
not how you want to
MSc.
answer it. Speak
Right.
the language of the exam. And yeah, it sounds like this is the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess maybe like a shift in my question, Maggie, is like, how much of the exam did you feel like was from core course 4, the medical knowledge? Because that's obviously what I'm most intimidated by. It's crazy that we take the same test as doctors on this.
So generally, it was a 3-hour exam, and what was it, 120 questions?
Something like that. Yeah.
120, 150. I felt like 30% were 20 to 30% of the questions were copy paste from the core courses.
Okay. Like the practice exams, you mean?
Practice exams. So that's why my study guide, I redid that. And so
yeah,
I recommend that you memorize all the ones from mine.
Yeah. Okay.
Generate new questions. I think you said you took it a while ago, but if you still had yours, memorizing those. And so I would memorize them exactly. And so then when you questions, you can save yourself time because you don't even have to read the full question because you already know.
Yeah. My mind works well like that too. I'm just like
so about 20 to 30% were just breezing through is those.
Okay.
Another 20% were just so that was those. And then there was a good handful that were just brand new questions, but I would say probably another 20% were like really medically difficult. I remember I was trying to rewrite the question and I just couldn't remember exactly, but there was this one question I remember that said, you got an abdominal imaging of a client. There's stool in the lower left quadrant. What type of laxative would you give? And I was like,
Osmotic.
It was something that it was like that type of thing where it was just very, very specific. And I'm like, this question is meant for the person that prescribes. And
yeah.
there was another question that, I don't know, it said someone had constipation for this many days. They're in this hospital. This happened. Would you give 5 milligrams of Senna, 6 milligrams of Dulcolax, half of it? It was like very medicinal, which was hard. And my kind of philosophy with the exam is I did like a 3-pass strategy where like the first time I took the exam, like sitting taking it, I answered only the questions I was 100% were right.
Okay.
Then I went back through the next time and questions end up answering each other, or it jogs your memory for another one. Then I answered the next ones that I was, 80% sure about.
Yeah.
And then I went through a third time, answered the ones I was 60% sure about. Then I went through kind of the last 30 minutes were the questions I did not know the answers to. And I just kept going back around and around and around. And there was probably 5 that I did not know the answer to save my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just left them for last, and they were likely those more medically complex ones. But I feel that IDEP knows that. And then the other one that there was a lot on is like a ton of modality stuff. Like
I'm not a therapist, so
you could really tell like that exam was for therapists too. And I was like, okay, if this is going on with this client, would you use,
FBT or
FBT, da 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 da. I'm like, these are not dietitian questions.
that's so rough. Yeah.
And then there was a lot that were like, if someone is an adolescent with anorexia, what's the first line modality treatment recommendation? So there was a couple that were a little bit, and it's like, that's an easier one, but there was definitely a lot more questions on modality than I was expecting. That were so I think the modality one, I wouldn't really spend too much time on the core course for like really trying to know all of those.
Yeah, because it's not gonna. I don't have a doctor brain. I haven't trained it, so like dosing isn't gonna stick with me. Yeah, they should really.
Let me see if I wrote down.
But I probably wouldn't have spent a lot more time with the modalities. So I appreciate that, because there are a lot of ones in there that like I've never heard of like ECTF or something like that. And it's like this really specialized thing that I doubt people actually use.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm looking at every month when we have these meetings, I go back through my exam notes and write more questions based on what I had. But now I'm so far out, I like don't really remember too much of them. But so there's one question that was, what modalities can, actually that's not a good one. Let's see. I'm trying to see if, so like one was, generally the question was, someone had a lack of a bowel movement in 4 days. You hear no bowel sounds. There's pain in a certain quadrant, left quadrant, right quadrant. What do you do first? 1, ask history of bowel movement. 2, add a laxative. 3, start oral bicycliamide. And I don't remember, like that was like my memory of like one of the questions. That was like, okay, it's probably not ask. I don't know what the answer is.
There's a blockage. It sounds like there's like a blockage in there. We don't want to start anything, do we?
I have trouble imagining you would start anything before asking them their history of bowel movements.
Yeah, because you're not sending them for imaging yet. You're just kind of saying like, is this normal for you? Because I mean, a lot of our clients go every 4 to 7 days. That's not
Yeah.
unheard of.
Right.
Yeah, let's see.
So
But
ask
you
them,
get,
and then send them right to imaging.
yeah. Yeah, that's what I would think is doing a lower abdominal.
So that may be one where, okay, we go back through the virtual binder, look at
Yeah,
constipation, but then when we're on constipation, like there's not the, like,
I know.
I don't know if there's like an actual answer of what to.
What is the answer, Maggie? What does
I
it
don't, so that was one of the
you can remember?
I remember, and I wrote down so I could eventually create a test question and create it, and then my study exam thing like didn't really sell the first year, so I didn't rewrite the questions. And then for some reason now it is, and I'm like, well, I don't remember the questions anymore.
It's okay. It's still good practice. It's still good discussion either way. Yeah, I did clinical RD for a minute, and that's what I remember from the hospital is like we would just need to ask a lot of questions first, partly because you're justifying to insurance. Why would we want to do this imaging as well? So I'm thinking of it from the insurance lens as well, which doctors always have to consider. So taking off my dietitian hat a little bit, pretending I'm a doctor.
That's what we have to do. Here's what I have in my notes. It says abdominal x-ray can evaluate objectively how much stool is present, may need follow-up x-rays. If excessive stool present, intensify medical management. If minimal stool, reassure. Deplete potassium to more than 4% fat. I don't know. That one doesn't make sense. So if any, like I said, I have trouble choosing anything before asking the client more information. That seems like pretty obvious, but I guess if one of the answers was like abdominal x-ray, that sounds like what it would be.
I think it's usually talk to the client first is probably going to be it. Like, is this a normal for you? Just the same as on the RD exam, wherever it says build rapport, that's the answer.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that's the way I would probably go into this too. We'll ask the client more if that's the option. Intervention, you got to justify the information, the intervention. So gathering information is going to be your go-to. That's
probably a good rule. I would hope.
And it looks like it's so hard to find the new information in the new binder because it doesn't let you search by word. But at least what I want to be able to see more clearly that I can't see is there's this slide right here that I feel like the answer's right here, but it's completely blurry.
Okay, let me see if I can find it on mine.
But so that's slide 93.
Of which core course?
So that's what makes this really annoying is to find, you gotta like scroll.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I would say that seems like where the answer would be.
Yeah, that decision-making tree. Yeah, if this, then that. If this, then that.
Now I just gotta get to it. I wish they need to like completely automate this into like being like an electronic lesson. Okay, core course 4, part 2.
It's always in 4. Thank you.
So let me see if I have. Oh, I don't have my core courses on here anymore.
Did you guys buy your courses like one by one? That's what I'm doing as I go through the courses. I'm just purchase the next one, or did you just purchase the whole shot? I'm reluctant to because I bought all the books and everything for the old one, and then I'm gonna do reference them, but
I think just going one at a time, because if you don't, they can. I've had people who buy them and they expire, or they get it and they don't do the test soon enough. But I would just do one by the next.
Yeah. And I'm gonna do my goal 1 core course a month.
And Claire, do you have the core course binder 2024 or have they released a 2025 one?
Let me go up to see what mine's called. I have it saved under IDA Core Curriculum Handbook.
But there's like a binder. I've literally only been watching like the webinars and downloading the slides. I didn't know
They
there
have a
was.
binder where like everything's in one. Again, if they have it how the 2024 one is, it's not helpful to have, but the 2023 you can search by word, which made it super helpful for studying.
I have the 2023 one,
Okay.
and I'm blocked out of my account. I can't get access to these things again. There's an expiration date, which is another thing that's kind of.
I'll see if I can get into the core courses.
Okay. I found it.
Well done.
You did?
Yes.
You found that chart?
Yes, and the other one. Okay.
Nice.
Where's the binder? I'm literally looking through my materials.
Okay, so I think this is
And
This
it's just
is-
this is where the answer is. Okay, so I guess this would be a great chart to generally know. I don't think you'd have to know the whole
constipation.
thing, but it sounds like, you know, step one is the, can you guys see this okay-ish?
Not
Okay-ish.
really. Oh, okay.
So it's
You can
primary
just talk me through it.
constipation. Step one is dietary lifestyle modificationers.
Mhm.
If it's not responsive, osmotic laxatives.
Sounds like that's the answer.
And then it says,
You're not going to do an X-ray first?
not going to do what?
An X-ray first?
No, it's
No bowel movement in 3 days. Oh, so I think if they're unresponsive, you go here and then add in Cinna. That's crazy because like my brother literally is on pain medication right now, and like the first line of treatment was Cinna.
Was what? What is that?
Senna.
What's
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what Cinna is?
Cinna? No.
Cinna?
SENNA.
Yeah.
So it's,
S-E-N. Okay, thanks.
yeah.
So it is medication. Let's get the real name for it.
Laxative.
Glycoside. Yeah, so it's really common in the hospital, and when people have constipation that they'd get Cinna.
Is it osmotic?
I don't think so.
Unless it's plant-based. It's not, no, it's stimulant-based. Okay.
Yeah, oh, there we go, right there. Stimulant.
Oh, for your brother, Maggie, Activia is excellent for the opioid-induced constipation.
Oh.
Yeah, that particular strain's been studied quite a bit for that. I remember I had a client on it and I came across that information. So Activia for everyone.
Oh my gosh, how cool. I'll have to go buy him some.
Yeah, and you can, further look into that. But yeah, offhand, I remember that
Yeah.
that specific strain was really good. So the probiotics can be really helpful for that,
Cool.
on top of the medications and whatnots.
Yeah.
So can you say it again where Senna fits in this chart? Like I can,
Rescue therapy stimulant laxative. So it looks like, okay, so the first medicine is osmotic. And then if the osmotic laxative doesn't work, you go to stimulant laxative.
Yeah, stimulate that bowel. Okay.
Got it.
We go back to.
Oh, I can see that better now.
Oh, you can't see. So if we go back to that question, okay, if someone doesn't have a bowel movement in 4 days, no bowel sound, pain, and I don't remember what quadrant it said. What do you do first? Ask history of bowel movements. I'm sure that's got to be the answer.
I think so.
Add laxative or start oral bicyclamide.
Do you think that that was bisacodyl under Senna on this chart? Do you think maybe?
I bet that's what it is. Yes. So if I were to remake this question, I would say hey, you have someone who's complaining of constipation. There's not vowel sounds. They have a pain in a certain quadrant. Do you add an osmotic laxative or a stimulant laxative?
And the answer would be osmotic and then stimulant.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if that's general protocol for, laxative therapy.
So then the other part is this part up here. So stimulant, laxative, okay, so this is what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit different than just constipation, but just laxative use. So this kind of walk through if someone has laxative use, what the protocol is here.
Yeah. Do you think they're just in that question, Maggie? Do you think they were just including the quadrant to throw you off? Because the only thing I think of with a quadrant question is appendix.
Yeah, because it includes the pain.
Oh,
yeah, pain and then quadrant. Yeah.
Like I'd probably want to check that out too.
So this is my favorite way to use this binder is every time I'm studying, I get stuck, I would search by that. And so then in the whole binder, they don't talk about quadrant at all.
Yeah. Can you, I don't think they would even look up. Let me see if I can search in mine, or I might ask you to send me that one, Maggie.
Yeah, I can send it to you. So then like, if we just search like vowel to see like, hey, do they talk about like vowel sounds anywhere? And let's start with, we're going to go reverse order.
I can.
We know that they're hitting at the end into those more medically complex stuff. So I bet the answer would be more likely to be in that core course 4.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, osmotic laxative again. Microbiome, it's not going to be there, I doubt. Okay, it just got really blurry.
I also feel like I've kind of reached the point where I might just need to take it, because it feels like, especially when you look at like core course 4, like there's no way I'm going to know all that. And I just have to play the odds game of like, I know enough. I've been doing this for like a handful of years.
Yes. So my other study advice that I give people is 1, don't study for more than 2 weeks. 2,
Total?
So, I mean, as you're taking, let's say you take all the exams and you're like, all right, I'm ready to take the final exam.
Yeah.
I don't recommend you study for more than 2 weeks.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
What can be tough is if you took the exams a really long time ago, you may need to study a little bit more. But I like to say, hey, take the exam, all the core courses as close as possible together, as close as possible to that final exam. Don't study for more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And also consider it that you're just taking $100 practice exam.
That's what I was thinking too.
So
Yeah.
I tend to be like, if I fail, it was $100 practice exam. And then I know what questions are going to be on it. I can study those and then take it again in 2 weeks. So it's not like the argument where you get punished and you have to wait 90 days or whatever it is. So if you're feeling like, I just want to take it, I would say take it.
That's what I'm thinking.
What the other thing I would do is just go through my 2 practice exams. Go through them until you have the answer memorized.
Yeah. I printed them out and I like highlighted the right answers. I mean, I got like most of them right. And I can memorize pretty well. So I think if I go through all my notes, one more time, because I took notes on all of it. I have 90 pages of notes. Like read through those one more time, do your exam or memorize the answers to your exam. I'll probably just take it because it's $100. It's not like our licensure exam that are like $300, $400, $500.
Yeah. So I would say just take it. If you want to study more, do the exams. I took the exams until I had them memorized and then until I understood the why of each question.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to do that. I think with you practicing in the field for as long as you have, but yeah, I would just, even if you just give yourself one more day to study and then do it, or just don't and just start it.
Just do it.
I
Yeah.
will say that you have that 3-hour time limit. I'm a fast test taker, and it took me 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Wow. Okay. That's really good to know.
Go pee before you start because you can't get up. Also, your nervous system realizes that, and like you don't even think about going to pee or anything, but because you're proctored virtually, you can't leave the room.
Oh, really? Yeah. I didn't know that. Did they tell you that on the test day? Because they don't say that in the mock exam or anything.
I believe, at least my memory serves me right. I remember it saying like, you have to be sitting for this entire time where you can't get up. And I remember I went like 9 times before the exam just in case.
Yeah.
You're so nervous and your adrenaline's going as you're taking the test, like you don't think about going to the bathroom or anything.
Yeah. Interesting. But there's not someone live there watching.
Mm-mm. No, it's almost as if,
Then how would they know if they're just capturing your screen, or does it take a recording of me in the room?
Yeah, so it's like if we all logged off this Google Meet call and you stayed on and takes your exam, that's what it's going to feel like.
Yeah.
I think there is probably, what I guess is like a system that has AI that follows eye movements. And if it notices that you're like that, or you get off the camera, I'm assuming that the proctor system is looking for those eye movements and looking for you to leave that. Bye, Sarah. Thanks for coming. Or looking for you to get off the camera.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if someone's, watches it later. But if you were to get up, if it would like alert or something, but just stay where you're seated. Don't get up. Don't, look in weird places.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it sounds more nervous than it is, but I think just go in with it being like, hey, I may fail and it's just gonna be the $100 test. And then when I pass, I was like, oh my gosh, cool, I saved $100.
Nice. Yeah. I like that reframe. That works for my brain too. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm probably gonna take it in the next month. If I remember any like questions that could be helpful for you, I'll shoot you an email, or if yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I've spent enough time with this. I'm ready to just kind of take it.
Yeah, cool. Well, I think you'll do great. If you have any questions, reach out to me. If you haven't taken it by next month and want to hop on the call next, we can hang out then.
Sounds good.
Nice meeting you.
You too, Maggie. Thanks so much. Like, this is the only one out there that does this. I think it's really brilliant, and the fact that you're like continuing to contribute to it, this is a really great resource that I'll point people to. I work on a team. We're a team of 13, I think now, and we have some other folks wanting to pursue CEDS, so I'll point them this way.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll see you around.
Okay. Bye, Maggie.
Bye, Claire.
Bye.